Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. And thank you to all Ministerium and for invitation and to give me the possibility to tell and to explain our experience. I try to give you some information and some skill to implement, if you want, of course, in Estonia, the e-invoicing process, and to also in relationship with VIDA, with this important reform of European Commission. So we start with the mandatory of e-invoicing process in Italy at the beginning of 2019. So we have quite more than 5 years of experience, and we are sure that we can say that there are benefits, many benefits for both business and tax administration, and of course for the country. I summarize in this slide this kind of benefits for business and for tax administration. But concretely, I can say that after 2 years of our reform, a study of University of Milan with a survey to the company, to the business, said that they save cost about from 7 to 12 euro for each invoice with this reform. Of course, we talk about not only medium and large enterprises, but also for small and micro enterprises. We have around 6 million of enterprises in Italy, and most of all are micro and small enterprises. So this reform is not only for large, okay, for large enterprises. This is very important. We have sure the reduce of paper, the reduce of cost about archiving, because we can archive information and file and not paper. Reduce of mistake, because we use data and we share data with an interoperability standard. Of course, the big company can reallocate human resource, because in particular for the process of the registration of the passive invoice, you have no more work, because this is automatically. And of course, this is the invoicing process is a prerequisite for adopting of strategy of collaboration, transparency between tax administration and taxpayer. We can, as tax administration, I work for the tax administration, we can achieve in real time, in a high quality level and in a structured way, the information, the fiscal information that are in the invoice. Then we can use this to profile tax return, to improve our risk analysis, to tackle the fraud, and to simplify tax obligation. So the condition to achieve this kind of benefit are in particular this that I summarize in this slide. It's very, very important to adopt a unique standard at semantic and syntaxis level for the file of an invoice. And only with a structure and unique standard you can achieve the goal of interoperability, of ET or interoperability. If you have more standard, you have to add somebody who take and translate this standard in your standard, of course. So it's very important, one standard. This is not easy to achieve. It's very important to define what kind of data in the file are fiscal obliged data and commercial data, because the invoice is not only a fiscal document, but also a commercial, very important document. And it's very important to define altogether public administration and private stakeholder, software house, small, medium, and large enterprises, and accountant, to define the juridical but also the technical rules to achieve these goals. We do it in Italy. We have in Italy, we had and we have a forum of e-invoicing that works in 2011. And in this forum sits all the private and public stakeholders. We, as tax administration, coordinate this forum, and we have a long discussion about this kind of reform. But at the end, we adopt this reform with a law and technical rules shared with all this kind of stakeholders. This is the best way to achieve this kind of reform, I think. Why we adopt the mandatory of e-invoicing in Italy? Sure, for a fiscal purpose, but when we plan this kind of reform, we think really more to the benefit, for the benefit of businesses, to simplify the business obligation at fiscal and administrative level. We start in Italy in 2006 with a mandatory of e-reporting, only e-reporting. We ask to all supplier and customer to send for each invoice with a file all the fiscal obliged data of the invoice. This was only for fiscal purpose, because we have to take this data and use this data to implement tax audit. We receive this information quarterly basis normally, and it was a cost obligation for business. They have to do invoice, and then they had to take some information from the file, write a new file for e-reporting, and send this file to the tax administration. So cost, mistake. We use, of course, this data, but this data were not really with a high quality level. So we do also many mistakes during our audits. And so we have to change something. In the meantime, we adopt a mandatory of e-invoicing through a centralized system for business to government process transaction. So we said that all invoice, all transaction between a private supplier and the public administration had to produce with an e-invoice through a centralized system. So we adopt this reform in 2019 through this gradual path, okay? Not immediately. So a long history. What's the difference between the mandatory of reporting and the mandatory of e-invoicing through a centralized system. As I said before, in the first case, supplier produce and send an invoice, an e-invoice or a PDF or a paper invoice to the customer, and then supplier and customer has to produce an e-reporting file and send to the public administration, to the tax authority. So 2 different processes, 2 different activities for business, uncertainty about data quality. They can, of course, use provider, but is not obliged. And when arrive the file of e-reporting to the public administration, the public administration makes some automatic check about the syntax of the file, the standard, and the data, obliged data in the file. With the integration, with mandatory of invoicing and the integration of 2 processes. One single integrated process. The supplier generate the invoicing, the file, with the standard defined by the law, send to, also through a provider, this file to the centralized system, a server managed by the revenue agency, a post server managed from the revenue agency. This computer make the same check, automatically check of about the syntax, the standard, and see if in the file there are all the obliged fiscal data. No other kind of check, no substantial check, only formal check, okay? Because if, for example, there is the data of the invoice, this invoice is at fiscal level is not a real invoice, okay? So only this kind of check. Then, if all is okay, this check is in real time, in a couple of, in 1 hour maximum, 2 hours. If all file is okay, the server of the revenue agency deliver the invoice to the customer, okay? So, supplier and customer have the same invoice, have a structured invoice. There is all the benefit of the interoperability for supplier customer. They also have the certainty about the data of sending and the data of receiving. This is very important also for commercial purpose, because our server give the receipt to both to supplier and customer. And at the end, the public administration, the tax authority, has in the hand the real data, fiscal data, that are in the invoice in the hand of the supplier and in the hand of the customer, in real time. So we can use in real time this data. We are sure that these data are the original data that are in the accountant of the supplier, the customer. And so we use this data to not only for risk purpose, for risk analysis purpose, but also to pre-file tax return. So 3 key factors. A single standard. We define this centralized system. Vida said that you can use also a decentralized system. You can send and receive invoicing with a unique standard through the provider, and then the provider make the e-reporting to the tax administration. But we think that we had experience about this kind of reporting, and we are sure that after 5 years of this kind of reform process, we are sure that this is the best way for us to integrate the two processes. Of course, the law say if you produce and send and receive an invoice in another way, not with this standard, not through the centralized system, this is not a fiscal invoice, valid fiscal invoice. So you cannot, for example, deduct VAT. This is just a slide about our exchange system. There is really high flexibility to use it, because the business can use private software, can use provider to generate, send, and receive the invoice. Of course, the provider has to accredit it to the central system. They can send this invoice also by a certificate email. We offer and we produce and offer free of charge app or web service to, in particular, to small and micro enterprise to do it, to generate, to send and to receive, and also to read an invoice, an e-invoice. Because, of course, e-invoices, we see before, is XML, you don't read, but you easy can read it as a PDF with free of charge software, then convert the XML in PDF. So no problem to read, also for human purpose, to read an invoice. I say before, how we arrived to this reform. With an open discussion through this common table of multi-stakeholder forum, and also offer to the small and micro enterprises this free of charge services by the tax administration. And of course, we create a strong net of assistance. And we do many events before to start with to form to give this information to all in enterprises, and yes, I had already said this. Some numbers. We have managed more than 2.4 billion of e-invoicing last year. This is the distribution in B2B, B2C, and B2G. For B2C, just an information, the supplier has to produce, to generate, and send the invoice as e-invoice through the centralized system. But the customer can also ask for a copy on paper, of course. But all customer or citizen can read and take his invoice in the reserved area, web area of Revenue Agency. We offer many services to VAT subject, but also for citizen to read, to download, to share the invoice, and to archive, of course, invoice. Only 1.4% of rejected invoices. This is very important because also when we start with this process, this rate are really low. This means that all 6 million of 5.6 million of enterprises in Italy can do it easily, really easily, okay? And this is, of course, also the effect of mandatory invoicing through this centralized system in Italy. We had a strong reduction of tax evasion, in particular of VAT tax evasion. We also improve our risk analysis to prevent fraud in real time. Thank you, and I am here for your question.
Thank you very much, Mario. What were the main objections raised by the Italian businesses against this mandatory e-invoicing? You obviously had a long period where you discussed all the fears and all the worries that companies had. So what were the main objections and how actually did you solve them?
Yes, at the beginning, in particular, the small and micro enterprises said e-invoicing is difficult. What is it? For me, paper is better. During the forum, we asked, how do you prepare your invoice? On paper or with your PC? And all said with PC, with Word, Excel. Okay, it's the same. You have to have a software that guide you to generate the invoice. Then you generate an e-invoice, a file. You can read also this file in PDF format because there are software that can change the visuality of invoice. And then you have to send with your certificate email or with your provider. And no problem. Then they touch with hand that the e-invoices is easy. It's not difficult.
Everyone's happy in Italy
Yes.
now?
Yes, absolutely.
Do we have any Italian companies here?
Not only company. Not only company, the accountant. Because for tax and also for administrative purpose, many company has an accountant that manage this information. They are really happy because they simplify really the administrative obligation and of course change also the strategy and the relationship with tax administration and business. Because at the beginning, many years ago, tax administration is somebody who do audit. Okay, now tax administration is see like somebody who gives you services for tax purpose. It's different. So there is a strong collaboration.
You mentioned that in real life, people still want the good old PDF or an invoice on paper. So do you actually have in Italy now two parallel systems? In a way, you have machine-readable e-invoices that go through this bookkeeping software, but in parallel, people still send emails with PDFs or print them on papers.
At the beginning, somebody do it, but then they understand that it's not at economical level. It's not good. You can archive and you can also use free of charge services for archiving this file from revenue agency, and you can also use this service to read and download your invoice also in a PDF format. So it's no problem.
Is that often still the case that people want to look at it,
yeah.
the PDF documents,
yeah.
just to understand? Because these XML files or these e-invoices, it's difficult to
Yes, the XML file has to read from the PC, from the ET system. But if you want to read, you can do it with the converter in PDF. It's no problem. Mm-hmm. And excellent. You can also, it's very important, with this kind of reform, with the structured file, you can use data This is very important. You can use data for many purposes, not only for administrative purpose, because you have data, you have a database. If you have an image of the invoice, it's difficult. You have to take information and register when you want to use this data.
Are there also specific data points that demonstrate how mandatory e-invoicing has reduced the administrative burden for businesses and also for the tax authority? Because this is something that we are promised with e-invoicing. We will become much more effective. Now, Italy is the first one to do the experiment. So do you have like specific KPIs to actually measure it?
I show you some numbers. I show you, of course, how the VAT gap are reduced in Italy. This is very important, not only for tax administration, but for all country. But of course, I said before the survey of Italian Polytechnic of Milan is the University of Milan, and when at the end of the survey they have this number, each enterprise said, I save cost. I touch with my hand this saving. Is very important. We have now really a good feedback from enterprises, from business, and also from tax administration.
Mario, thank you so much for sharing the Italian experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.